The silent colony captain Marcus Rivera floated through the debris field that used to be humanity's proudest mining colony. His hands trembled inside his suit's gloves as he recognized fragments of buildings where children had played just weeks ago. The mining station on Kepler 442b had been home to 8,000 souls. Now it was a graveyard of twisted metal and frozen dreams floating in the void. The distress beacon had stopped transmitting 3 days ago. By the time the reconnaissance ship horizon reached the colony, there was nothing left but silence and destruction. Marcus had commanded exploration vessels for 12 years, but nothing had prepared him for this level of devastation. The colony's defensive satellites drifted powerlessly, their systems fried by some kind of electromagnetic pulse. The habitat, domes were shattered like eggs, their contents scattered across the barren moon's surface. Lieutenant Sofia Mendez's voice crackled through his helmet communicator. Her normally steady tone carried an edge of barely controlled rage. "Captain, you need to see this. Found something in what's left of the administration building." Marcus adjusted his thrusters and navigated through the debris toward her position. The administration building had been the colony's nerve center, a structure built to withstand meteor strikes and solar radiation. Now it looked like a giant hand had crushed it from above. Sophia stood near a metallic pillar that had been driven deep into the lunar surface. Attached to it was a crystalline device pulsing with an eerie purple light. "It's a message beacon," she explained, already running her scanner over the alien technology. "The language matrix is coming through now. Give me a second to decode it." Marcus watched as alien symbols flowed across his helmet display, slowly resolving into translated text. His jaw clenched as he read the message. It was from the Zorvath Empire, a species from the galactic core that humanity had never directly encountered. The message was simple and brutal in its arrogance. "These humans have been claimed as property of the Zorvath Empire. They will serve in our minds until their weak bodies fail. This is the fate of all who occupy systems within our expanded territory. Do not attempt rescue. Do not seek vengeance. Submit or be harvested. The Zorvath Empire recognizes only strength, and humanity has none." Marcus read the message 3 times, each word burning deeper into his memory. 8,000 people, including 1,500 children, had been taken as slaves. Families who had come to Kepler 442b seeking opportunity and adventure were now property of an alien empire that viewed them as nothing more than disposable labor. Back aboard the Horizon, Marcus assembled his crew in the main briefing room. The DI ship's 30-person complement sat in stunned silence as he displayed the images from the destroyed colony. Chief Engineer Dmitry Volkov, a man who had seen combat in his younger days, had tears running down his weathered face. Communications Officer Janet Park kept shaking her head, unable to process what she was seeing. Marcus opened a priority channel to Earth Command. The transmission would take several hours to reach Earth, but protocols demanded immediate reporting of any hostile alien contact. Admiral Catherine Shaw's face appeared on the screen, pre-recorded for the response delay. "Captain Rivera, report your findings." Marcus spoke clearly and professionally, though anger simmered beneath every word. "Admiral, Kepler mining colony has been completely destroyed. 8,000 colonists taken by a species calling themselves the Zorvath Empire. They left a message claiming our people as slave labor, sending all documented evidence now." The crew spent the next 2 days conducting a thorough investigation of the ruins. They found personal belongings scattered among the wreckage, each item a painful reminder of the lives that had been stolen. A child's drawing of Earth still clung to a piece of hull plating. A wedding photo floated past the observation window. A broken guitar drifted through space, its strings glinting in the starlight. Dr. Chen Wei, the ship's xenobiologist, analyzed the residual energy signatures left by the Zorvath weapons. His findings were disturbing. Their technology was at least 2 centuries ahead of humanity's current level. Their ships had apparently materialized directly in orbit, bypassing all early warning systems. The colonists never had a chance to defend themselves or even send a detailed distress signal. When the response from Earth finally arrived, it came from the highest levels of government. President Sarah Mitchell appeared on screen alongside Admiral Shaw and the Secretary of Interstellar Affairs James Okonkwo. Their faces were grim, but determined. "Captain Rivera," the president began, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's collective anger, "your report has been received and verified. The Galactic Assembly has been notified through official channels. We're demanding immediate return of our people in compensation for the destroyed colony." Secretary Okonkwo added his own assessment. "The Zorvath Empire is known to the Assembly. They're a militaristic species that has absorbed 12 other civilizations through conquest. The Assembly has historically taken a non-intervention stance regarding their expansion. They view it as natural selection on a galactic scale." Marcus felt his hands clench into fists. "So we're just supposed to accept this? 8,000 humans enslaved and the galaxy does nothing." Admiral Shaw leaned forward, and Marcus caught something in her eyes that hadn't been there before. A hardness that reminded him of old stories about humanity's military past. "Officially, Captain, we're pursuing diplomatic solutions through proper channels. The Assembly has scheduled a hearing for 6 months from now. Unofficially, I'm ordering you to return to Earth immediately. Bring every piece of data you've collected." The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks. During that time, Marcus noticed increased military traffic throughout human space. Cargo ships were being recalled to core systems. Colony defense forces were conducting unusual training exercises. Research stations were going dark, their projects classified beyond his clearance level. On Earth, Marcus was immediately summoned to Strategic Command's underground bunker in Geneva. The facility was buzzing with activity unlike anything he had seen in his career. Military officers worked alongside civilian scientists, their faces focused and determined. Wall displays showed tactical analyses of Zorvath technology and defensive positions throughout human space. Admiral Shaw met him in a secure briefing room where humanity's military leadership had gathered. The atmosphere was electric with barely contained fury. Marcus recognized General Thompson from the Mars Defense Force and Admiral Yukimura from the Jupiter Fleet. These were warriors who had spent their careers maintaining peace. Now they looked ready for war. "The Galactic Assembly has officially declined to intervene," Shaw announced without preamble. "Ambassador Vector informed us that the Zorvath Empire is too powerful to challenge and suggested we accept the loss as part of galactic politics. They recommended we abandon any colonies within 1,000 light-years of Zorvath space." General Thompson slammed his fist on the table. "Abandon our colonies? Accept our people as slaves? What kind of civilization allows this? The kind that has forgotten what humans are capable of when pushed too far," Admiral Yukimura said quietly. "The galaxy sees us as peaceful explorers and traders. They've forgotten our history. They've forgotten that we once turned our entire planet into a battlefield. They've forgotten that we split atoms to win wars and reached for the stars on pillars of fire and fury." Admiral Shaw activated a holographic display showing the entire galaxy. Blue dots marked human colonies. Red indicated Zorvath territory. The red was expanding steadily toward human space. "According to our intelligence, the Zorvath will reach 3 more of our colonies within the year. That's another 40,000 potential slaves." Marcus studied the display, his mind racing through possibilities. "What about our mutual defense treaties with other species? Surely someone will stand with us." Secretary Okonkwo, who had just arrived, shook his head grimly. "The Altarians express sympathy, but won't risk Zorvath retaliation. The Procyon Commerce Guild values their trade routes through Zorvath space. Even the Vegan Republic, our closest allies, have advised us to accept the situation. No one wants to anger the Zorvath Empire." "Then we stand alone," Marcus said. Admiral Shaw's smile was sharp as a blade. "No, Captain. We stand as humans always have when faced with tyranny. We stand together, and we remind the universe why humanity's military history is classified reading in most civilized systems." She gestured to a wall display showing technical readouts Marcus didn't recognize. "For the past 72 hours, every human scientist, engineer, and military strategist has been working on a single problem. How do we fight an enemy with superior technology and overwhelming force? The answer," General Thompson said, "is the same one our ancestors found when facing similar odds. We don't fight them on their terms, we fight them on ours." The awakening giant Dr. Amelia Zhang had spent her entire career studying ancient human military history, in the archives beneath Beijing. It was considered an obscure field, almost archaeological in nature, since humanity had embraced peaceful exploration for over 2 centuries. Most people didn't even know these archives existed, containing detailed records of every war, every battle, every tactical innovation humanity had ever developed. Now, as she stood before the Joint Military Council, those dusty records had become humanity's most valuable resource. The holographic display behind her showed page after page of tactical manuals, weapon specifications, and strategic doctrines that had been sealed away when humanity joined the galactic community. "Generals and admirals," she began, her voice steady. "Despite the weight of what she was about to propose, the galaxy believes humans are weak because we choose peace. They don't understand that we chose peace because we knew how dangerous we could become. Our ancestors didn't just wage war. They perfected it into an art form." She activated the first file showing ancient military campaigns from Earth's history. Humanity has always excelled at asymmetric warfare. When the Mongols conquered most of Asia with inferior numbers, they used speed and psychological warfare. When American colonists faced the British Empire, they invented guerrilla tactics. When Vietnam fought superpowers, they turned their jungle into a weapon. We don't need to match the Zorvath's technology. We need to make their advantages irrelevant. Admiral Shaw leaned forward with interest. The theoretical models were compelling, but how do we apply ancient tactics to space warfare? Dr. Zhang smiled and pulled up her next presentation. "By remembering that space isn't empty. It's an ocean filled with currents, islands, and hidden depths. The Zorvath Empire controls major hyperspace lanes like ancient empires controlled roads. But humans have always been explorers. We know paths through space they've never imagined." She showed a star chart with thousands of previously uncharted routes marked in green. For 2 centuries, human explorers have been mapping every cosmic anomaly, every gravitational eddy, every shortcut through dark matter clouds. The Zorvath travel on highways. We can move through the wilderness. General Thompson studied the routes with growing excitement. These paths would let us strike anywhere in their territory without warning. They'd never see us coming. Dr. Zhang nodded and moved to her next point. But mobility is just the beginning. The archives contain something else, something our ancestors called the doctrine of total war. Not just defeating an enemy's military, but destroying their will to fight. The Zorvath Empire rules through fear. We need to make them feel fear. In the weeks that followed, humanity underwent a transformation that shocked even those orchestrating it. The change wasn't announced through grand proclamations or military parades. It happened quietly, efficiently, and with a determination that ran deeper than any government decree. On Mars, the Olympus Mons research facility officially continued its work on terraforming technology. Unofficially, Dr. Yuki Tanaka and her team had repurposed their atmosphere processors into something far more dangerous. The same technology that could create breathable air could, with minor modifications, create clouds of corrosive gas that would eat through Zorvath hull plating in seconds. In the asteroid belt, mining crews that had spent decades extracting precious metals began hollowing out asteroids for a different purpose. Each rock became a potential kinetic weapon, equipped with stealth drives and navigation systems. Captain Roberto Silva, a third-generation asteroid miner, supervised the conversion of his family's mining vessel into something that would have terrified his peaceful grandfather. The transformation reached even civilian populations. On Europa, station where 3 million humans lived beneath the ice, swimming pools were drained and converted into training facilities. Office workers learned basic combat techniques. Teachers studied tactical planning. Children's virtual reality games were quietly updated to include strategic thinking exercises. The Shadow Fleet Initiative, as it came to be known in classified documents, was perhaps humanity's most ambitious undertaking. Hidden in the Oort cloud, far from any inhabited system, construction yards that didn't officially exist began producing ships unlike anything in human history. These weren't the exploration vessels and cargo haulers the galaxy knew. These were predators built with one purpose: to hunt Zorvath ships in the darkness between stars. Commander Li Wei stood on the bridge of the first completed Shadow Fleet vessel, designated SF-001, but nicknamed Phantom by her crew. The ship was smaller than a standard Zorvath cruiser, but built for a completely different kind of warfare. Her hull was covered in metamaterial plating that absorbed sensor scans. Her engines could shift between multiple propulsion modes, leaving no consistent signature to track. Most importantly, her weapons were designed not for honorable combat, but for ambush and assassination. 3 months after the destruction of Kepler 442b, Ambassador Vector of the Galactic Assembly arrived at Earth for an official visit. The mantis-like alien's compound eyes surveyed the human delegation with what passed for disappointment in his species. His translation device rendered his clicking speech into patronizing tones. Humans, I come with the Assembly's final word on your petition. The Zorvath Empire has been contacted regarding your missing colonists. They have graciously agreed to return the bodies of any who die in their service, though they estimate few will survive the first year. The Assembly considers this reasonable compensation. President Mitchell remained calm, though everyone in the room could feel the temperature drop. Ambassador, we demand the immediate return of all our people. Slavery is abhorrent to every principle of civilized society. Vector's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Civilized society recognizes the strong and dismisses the weak. The Zorvath have claimed your people by right of conquest. If humanity cannot defend its colonies, perhaps humanity should not have colonies. The Assembly suggests you focus on your core systems and accept your place as a minor species under protection of greater powers. General Thompson stepped forward, his scarred face impassive. And if we refuse to accept this judgment, then you face the Zorvath alone. And I assure you, human, they will not stop with one colony. They view your peaceful nature as an invitation. Already they speak of humanity as ideal slaves, weak enough to control but intelligent enough to be useful. Some in the Empire suggest harvesting your entire species. The room fell silent. Ambassador Vector interpreted this as submission and continued his lecture. You should be grateful the Assembly prevents total conquest. Accept your losses. Abandon your outer colonies. Perhaps in a few centuries, when you've developed proper military capabilities, you can petition for better status. President Mitchell stood slowly, her voice carrying a dangerous edge that made even the alien ambassador step back. Thank you for clarifying the Assembly's position. Please inform them that humanity will handle this matter according to our own judgment. After Vector departed, the human leadership convened an emergency session. The recording of the ambassador's words was played repeatedly, each replay stoking the fury that had been building for months. Secretary Okonkwo was the first to speak. They see us as cattle, as property to be divided among the strong. Admiral Shaw pulled up tactical displays showing Zorvath positions. Their empire is vast but spread thin. They maintain control through fear and superior firepower. They've never faced an enemy that refuses to fight on their terms. Dr. Zhang, who had been invited to join the Strategic Planning Committee, added her analysis. The Zorvath's greatest weakness is their pride. They announce their attacks in advance. They follow predictable patterns. They believe their technology makes them invincible. History shows that such arrogance is always punished. President Mitchell made the decision that would change everything. Then we remind them why humanity locked away its weapons. Begin full implementation of the Shadow Protocol. Activate all dormant military programs, and send word to our colonies. The sleeping giant wakes. Across human space, the transformation accelerated. The colony ship Eternal Journey, carrying 10,000 settlers to a new world, changed course for the hidden shipyards. Its passengers, instead of protesting, volunteered to help with construction. The research station orbiting Proxima Centauri shut down its telescope arrays and began testing new weapon systems. Even the archaeological mission studying ancient ruins on Tau Ceti postponed their work to analyze alien defensive technologies. But perhaps the most significant change happened in the hearts and minds of ordinary humans. Emily Chen, a teacher on Luna City, started each day by looking at pictures, From Kepler 442b, remembering her cousin who had lived there, she channeled her grief into purpose, organizing her students to study logistics and supply chain management, skills that would be crucial in the coming conflict. Marcus Thompson, a farmer on the agricultural world of New Eden, put aside his plowshares and began training with the colony militia. His grandfather had been a soldier in Earth's last war, and Marcus found himself reading the old man's journals with new understanding. Dr. Raj Patel, who had spent his career developing medical nanobots, realized his creations could be weaponized. The same technology that healed could, with minor adjustments, target Zorvath physiology specifically. He worked 18-hour days, driven by the knowledge that 8,000 humans were suffering in alien mines. The Zorvath Empire, monitoring human space from afar, noticed the increased activity, but misinterpreted it entirely. Their analysts reported that humans were fortifying their remaining colonies out of fear. The Empire's War Council found this amusing. Lord Commander Zek Thresh, veteran of a dozen conquests, declared that humanity's panicked preparations only prove their weakness. Let them huddle in their systems, he told his subordinates. Fear makes the harvest sweeter. When we take their capital worlds, their spirit will break entirely. These humans will make excellent slaves once they understand their place. The Zorvath had conquered species that fought with honor. They had absorbed civilizations that surrendered to preserve themselves. They had never encountered a species that would transform its entire society for vengeance. They didn't understand that humanity's peaceful facade had been a choice, not a limitation. In the hidden shipyards of the Oort cloud, the Shadow Fleet grew daily. Each ship was crewed by volunteers who understood they might not return. They painted their hulls black as space itself, and armed themselves with weapons that violated several galactic treaties humanity would no longer honor. Captain Sarah Chen, given command of the Phantom sister ship Revenant, stood before her, crew on the eve of their first mission. The galaxy thinks we're weak because we choose to explore rather than conquer. They're about to learn that we explore because we already know how to conquer. We've just been choosing not to.